hello, and fuck cape shit. Welcome to
Not just
another episode.
hello. It's not just hello.
Not
It's
merely hello.
not merely fuck cape shit, but
No,
also hello.
all of the above. Wow, you get all of those things? All of those
We
things I just said?
we do all of those things for you.
And then some.
You ingrates.
Welcome.
You
Yeah.
fucking ingrates.
Well, welcome and yay and good job for listening to the new Shitty Webcomics Weekly, the latest episode. We actually haven't recorded one in a month or
Couple
two.
months.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
one
been
of
a
the
while.
advantages of being able to just
But they're
record a
all queued up.
shitload. Yeah.
So that also doesn't matter. None of that matters.
None of that matters. What does matter is that if you want the fucking deep lore and all the extra videos and the really hardcore, the best shit, the so good that it's illegal, you'll be murdered
The
unironically in real
hardest
life
task,
by the government for
the
listening to
hardest
us.
task, nibbas.
Yes. The hardest motherfucking artists. Um, if you want to see that, go to our Subscribe Star. It's linked below, either in the Subscribe Star link, most likely in the card link, where you get all the you can support us. That's the important thing, is that you can support us. But you also get a bunch of extra behind this, not behind the scenes videos, but the deep lore, the secret drama about the people you probably didn't really want to know about.
Yeah, people you might have respected.
But it's our best videos is the stuff on the Subscribe Star. These videos are just sort of happy, fun, occasional videos to actually talk about webcomics, because it's kind of a funny thing. Even in the old days of the Shitty Webcomics blog, after maybe a year of just constantly talking about webcomics and reviewing webcomics, we're like, there, we talked about everything.
I
People are
remember
like,
people
oh, what
send us
about this
ads,
webcomic? And it was
or
like,
people would
no,
send us requests, and
yeah,
I was like, eh.
we already talked about everything about webcomics that could ever
Yeah,
possibly be talked
I
about.
I still cover. I usually try to cover the stuff, and before at first it was like we're gonna fucking do deep dives on these comics. We're gonna do in depth critical analysis. I'm not really a fucking. I never went to art school or anything, but I know what I like.
Fancy art school. Well,
And then
here's the thing: is that
eventually, I got tired of them.
we
I'd
did do the
still
deep
cover them.
dives. We actually did some of the most in depth shit. Like, the only other comparison would be that John Solomon or something. I forgot, but the guy who did your webcomic is bad and you should feel bad. He did a deep dive stuff about webcomics, and XKCD Sucks would cover every new XKCD comic. Even that guy eventually was getting tired of it, where he would just start doing capsule reviews of a bunch of pages of XKCD all at once. Because it's like, like that guy, it was like, well, we covered everything there is to say about
Mhm.
XKCD except to just continue talking about how
Yeah, eventually,
XKCD continues.
especially with something that is like fucking updating daily.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like there's only eventually they're just covering the exact same ground.
yeah, you can only say the same thing about the same comic so many times. That's why, in a way, the Shitty Webcomics Weekly is the perfect thing, because webcomics are
Perfect.
bigger than ever and more spread out than ever,
Well,
so it's easier
I
to
was also going to
cover.
mention it's like you know what's really great about fucking Stone Toss is that people never have people always have new things to say about it
Yeah.
because first off, it's covering a lot more topics than just XKCD. It's about math and stuff.
Math and romance, which
Well,
we
math
have
from the
a
perspective
XKC.
of somebody who has nothing else to say.
Yeah, we have an XKCD episode coming up, which one of the only way we covered XKCD back in the past, if for anyone who does or doesn't remember on the old blog, was we didn't cover XKCD because there was xkcd.blogspot.com. And it's like, well, they already cover it probably better than we could in a way. So anytime somebody would send a message to our blog, the Shitty Webcomics blog, they would be like, "What about your shitty webcomic? Why don't you show us Your comic.
which is also it's a cope. It's very simple.
It's a cope, but
Back
it's
in the
also
day,
like those aren't words. At some point,
back in the yeah,
they're not
they're
even
not even
words.
saying words anymore. But back in the day, I mean, we used to have to fucking actually come up with an explanation for why they're big crybaby bitches. Now we just say cope, seethe, and dilate.
And
Cope,
ratio,
seethe, cope, seethe, mauled, and dilate,
and
and
stay
that
mad,
just
and
takes care of all
ratio.
of it.
Yeah, that covers everything, I suppose. But yeah, back in the day, yeah, people would be like, "Oh, why you fucking put, why you put, they would actually talk like that. Why are they doing it? But they would say like, "Where's your shitty comic so we can judge it?" And I would be like, "Okay, here is mine. Please
Please go
don't
easy.
go
Please
easy."
go
Yes.
easy on me.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive. Please don't be mean about it. And then I would just type in www.xkcd.com. Nobody ever fell for it, unfortunately, but who cares? Anyways,
Or rather, they were suddenly ashamed into realizing that we were the geniuses behind
the
XKCD.
fucking you're stunned by my genius, aback by the fucking
Take a
incredible brain power I just
take
displayed.
a knee.
But
You
also
people all had
possibly
to take a knee when you
possibly
realized.
people saw that and were like, because I know there were at least a few examples of people who wanted to hate us at first and maybe hate followed us, and after a week or a month or something, they had to admit to themselves that they loved us. It happens a lot.
That was also the thing is, and I know you didn't watch the video. I wasn't going to, but I saw it was only 14 seconds long. But yeah,
The Ethan
Ethan
thing,
Van
yeah.
Sciver once again making note of your comment.
What is the chances that I was just thinking about Rethan Van Kryberg also being as an example of someone who clearly wanted to like this is not my speculation. Ethan Van Sciver actually follows us because he's constantly mentioning us and me and Shitty Webcomics and
We
so
live
on.
rent free in his head
Yes.
naturally.
And that's not, again, that's not us speculating or guessing. Other people who personally know Ethan Van Sciver confirmed that he's constantly talking about us behind the scenes and in private and in DMs and so on. But yeah, there was some recent video where I didn't see it because it's like, fucking, what am I
Yeah,
going to
no.
do? Fucking
We,
reply
I
to it.
mean, that's also the thing is,
He has me
fucking,
blocked, though, and he's
you
still
can
talking
accuse
about
us
me.
of him living rent free in our heads. I don't watch his videos,
No,
so you can't.
I've
It's not true.
genuinely I've never seen a single one of his videos. I've
No,
never watched one of his streams since 2018. And
I've never even watched any of them all the way through.
no, all
Not
that
one.
happens, the most that happens is somebody makes a clip of him mentioning us and then sends it to us. And even then I usually don't watch it because again, like with XKCD, it's like what am I going to say that I didn't already say many times before that I don't already know that has been basically laid down in the permanent law of human experience as you know we are explorers on the furthest reaches of human experience, angels to some, demons to others, I suppose. But yeah, that's just another example of how people like when we started reviewing Sinfest and we were just trashing it correctly and accurately, of course. People who loved Sinfest started following us obsessively to the point where they became fans of ours, and some of them were admitting that we were right and going to the Sinfest forums and being like, you know, the shitty webcomics guys, those guys are stupid assholes, but they're kind of right. You know, that happens
Stupid
every
assholes.
time.
Did you see what they said about you today?
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Every day.
yeah, and
Every single day
we
that we post anything about him.
we wouldn't post
See what
about
they
him every
say.
day either. In fact, at some point we're like we would get submissions of his comics and then we would reply to them just saying, I'm not interested, fucking we already reviewed this. We've already said everything that there is to be said about his comic. This new one that you sent us doesn't add to it. It doesn't have any new take to be added. And again, we would say to the people submitting to us, it's like, okay, this comic that you submitted to us. What do you have to? What do you have to say about it that hasn't already been said? And they would never have anything. And it's like, so why are you sending it to us? So we would bash our own followers, rightfully so, for sending us extraneous, redundant fucking comics, essentially. So that's why we would just, for a long time, not even talk about webcomics on the blog. But again, Shitty Webcomics Weekly is actually a great opportunity to talk about actual webcomics. And if you're looking at the video, you've been looking at one of the examples. And this one's not actually bad. I don't. This isn't an example of like, oh, this comic's terrible. I hate this guy.
I wish it was. I wish it was worse.
Well, in a way, because it is bike cuck. But the thing is, this guy's comics aren't actually bad as comics. The art is nice and simple and appealing to look at in a simple
He's
way.
very normie, but he does actually have a sense of humor, and he has drawing ability. He
Even
has an actual ability to make a comic.
He like, even if he does a bad comic or if it's terrible in any way, like Bike Cuck was his nadir, I guess. It's still not really as bad as most other. This one also, I guess, is another example because there's still actually a joke. You can't say, oh, just fucking, there's at least a joke construction, even if the joke is just facial expression, which, to be honest, you can criticize facial expression as the punchline, and we have in the past at some point, but
Yes.
the thing is, it's not necessarily inherently a bad thing. I think this is an example, actually, of facial expression as the punchline actually working.
Well, first off, also, he doesn't do it every single comic after comic, for years at a time, like certain other webcomic creators.
The facial expressions also do definitely work in a lot of ways here in these panels. This is also a good justification of 4 panels. Like, sometimes the CAD rule, Control-Alt-Delete, the old CAD rule from V, was that you could dump the second and third panel and just leave the first and fourth, and it would be a better comic. So, in a lot of webcomics, they would all be 4 panels without justification for it. This is an example of 4 panels being justified. You could say it could be condensed down to 3, but again, it works. It displays well on Twitter also. But for anyone not looking at the video, at Shen Anigansen, doing a comic where a guy holding up a book that says Lovecraft and says, man, this guy's horror concepts are pretty sick. And the next panel says, I hope he never does a racism. Third panel is him reading the book, and then fourth panel is him just looking very exhausted suddenly. Which, again, not bad. It's not a bad comic. Even if you don't like it, even if you're like, oh, he doesn't like racism. What this guy, this bike cock.
He's a tranny.
Yeah, well, whatever you think about it, it's still a constructed joke. At worst, it's a successfully constructed joke. I don't get that bothered about like, oh, I love people pointing out Lovecraft is racist. It's like, yeah, he is.
First off, it was the 1920s.
Yeah, that was normal back then.
It wasn't what we call racism today. Was actually not even racism back then.
In fact, it never happened.
Both are true. It never happened, and they deserved it. Both are true. Both dogs. Inside of you, there are 2 wolves.
There are 2 doges or something. But whatever. Anyways, so somebody on our Discord, our wonderful Discord, linked in the description below, gave an idea for changing the book to Stephen King and says, I hope he never does a pedophilia. So I stole that, and I stole the comic. I basically made an exploitable version, and I, put the Stephen King on the book cover. Man, this guy's horror concepts are pretty sick. I hope he never does a pedophilia. And then just the same 2 panels. Because, again, showing that the basic structure of the comic works. So, like, if I steal the comic and the idea for the comic from somebody on our Discord, the comic itself works. So, again, it's a compliment to the comic. Isn't this a wonderful compliment? But, yeah, so I posted that on Twitter and said not only stealing this comic, but stole the idea from someone else. And I post the exploitable where it's the blank stuff underneath that. And then Shire Propagandist does another version. I think that they didn't really edit anything. It still says Lovecraft, but it says, "Man, this guy's racism is pretty sick. I hope he never does a Jewish wife." And then reading again the same punchline, the same two expressions. In a way, Shen, you really have to give him credit. Also, is that his comics, even the bike cuck one, had pure meme potential and worked very because it was simple, straightforward, visually uh, um, uh, coherent and easy to understand. Like you don't even have to understand the language to kind of get what the fuck's going on in the comic. Just about. Um, in fact, if you didn't understand a word of the original English in this, except maybe the name Lovecraft, if you recognize that, you could probably tell what's going on, and that's the key to the simplicity. Again, there was that stream we did a bunch of months ago with Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini on the Bunderdome channel, where they talked about the Flork comics and just how they function so perfectly because of their simple to the point. The art is simple, but again, they're funny, and the funniness shines through because the art doesn't have to get in the way. You could dress it up with all sorts of art and be fancy, but it wouldn't add anything to a comic that's already funny with simple art. In fact, there's probably something to the simple art making it better. It might be better when the art is more simple and straightforward, the same way as with the Shen comics. And he's massively successful, I know, on Webtoon. He's one of the official Webtoon guys. Anyways, yeah, so we just wanted to cover that. That's a good thing. So again, lots more in-depth stuff on our Subscribe Star, and also you can just support us in general. If you've ever liked anything we've ever done, just $1 on a Subscribe Star will get you access to some cool extra super secret hidden fun time videos. $5 will get you access to pretty much everything. There's a $20 tier also that will get you access to like the really, really early stuff that will come out in the following months. But if you donate $5 to us on a monthly basis, you'll eventually see everything. Sort of like Patrick Stewart in Extras, where he's seen everything.
We deserve the money.
Yeah, so if you want to support the truth and people who tell you the truth, donate to us on Subscribe Star. If you don't want to know the truth and don't want to support people who tell the truth, don't donate to us on Subscribe Star. And should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.